Witchcraft did not begin in the modern era, but neither did it stop evolving there. Long before contemporary traditions took shape, magical practice existed as a lived relationship between people, land, and unseen forces. This video explores When Shadows Were Power, Witchcraft's Forgotten Dawn, a work that looks back beyond modern structures to understand what came before them, not to reject what followed, but to better understand the roots from which it grew. This is not a dismissal. It is a remembering. Before witchcraft was organized into named traditions, it existed as practical knowledge passed quietly through generations. It was not framed as religion, nor as philosophy, but as something embedded in daily life. Healing, protection, divination, and blessing were not separate from survival. They were part of it. Those who practiced were rarely defined by titles. They were known by reputation and necessity. A person went to them because something needed to be done, not because a belief needed to be affirmed. Knowledge was shaped by observation, repetition, and outcome. What worked endured. What did not faded away. In When Shadows Were Power, Dark Draven explores this early landscape with care, showing how witchcraft functioned before it was formalized or standardized. Ritual was direct and purposeful. Tools were ordinary objects given meaning through use. Ethics were shaped by responsibility and consequence rather than doctrine. This does not stand in opposition to modern traditions. In fact, it helps explain why they arose. As societies changed, older forms of practice could no longer survive intact. Something new was needed, something structured, shareable, and resilient. Modern witchcraft did not replace the old ways out of failure, but out of necessity. Understanding this earlier phase allows us to see witchcraft not as a fixed system, but as a living continuum shaped by time, pressure, and adaptation. As the old ways became fragmented by social change, persecution, and loss of context, witchcraft adapted. Practices that were once local and unspoken gradually required form, language, and shared structure in order to survive. This transition was not a rupture, but a response. When Shadows Were Power traces this movement carefully. It does not frame early witchcraft as superior, nor modern traditions as lesser. Instead, it presents them as stages in a long process of preservation. What could not be carried forward unchanged was reshaped. What could be named was named. What could be taught openly was finally allowed to breathe. Wicca and other modern systems emerged as coherent responses to a world that no longer supported informal transmission. They provided safety, continuity, and access at a time when much had already been lost. Recognizing this does not diminish earlier practices. It honors them by acknowledging why change was necessary. The purpose of this book is not to turn backward, but to look deeper. To understand what was once instinctive, practical, and woven into life before it needed structure. To recover context, not to dismantle progress. If you are interested in witchcraft as a living tradition shaped by history rather than myth alone, When Shadows Were Power, Witchcraft's Forgotten Dawn offers that deeper perspective. Written by Dark Draven, it is available now on Amazon. To understand where we stand, we must first understand where we began.